Hi everyone! Thank you so much for attending live or replay team. I'm just waiting a bit to see if I am truly live on LinkedIn. I do that for checking because there are a few seconds of delay between me speaking here with my guest and the LinkedIn. I am live. So yes, so it's amazing so that I can also see probably your comments appearing. Thank you so much, George, for joining to this Saturday mental health session. And I invited you because I feel really touched. And I took some time yesterday to hear your book. I was not reading it, but I was hearing it. And not the whole. I probably read the two or the three first chapters. Yet at the same time, I feel really moved about what you shared so far in my hearing. So, George or Dr. George, will I say George? It's okay?
Sharon's son George. That's the best.
Yeah. Or hello, dear Sharon's son.
Thank you.
Welcome, George, to this amazing session that will last 65 minutes maximum. Let's say that. So I honor your time. I honor also the time of our audience. Usually I go for what, like 70, 80, 90 minutes, but this time it will be like 60, 65 minutes so that it will be an interesting session. So I know you, even though knowing is a big word. And at the same time, maybe there are people from our audience or our replay team that doesn't know you yet. So feel free to introduce yourself and your mission.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an honor to meet you, and thank your audience too for having me today. It's very important to really share this journey. My mother, she unfortunately had Parkinson's disease for 15 years, and we didn't find out till about the seventh. She kind of hid it in a way because she didn't want to burden the family. But it's a very tough disease. It's a movement disorder where eventually the progression slowly takes over the individual's life. We don't know why it excelled so quickly with my mother, but she passed on 1/1/2020 due to Parkinson's. And since then, I become an advocate in her memory because unfortunately she can't be brought back. But we can also ensure that other people fighting this disease around the world don't ever feel alone. Like I felt alone as a caregiver, and she really did feel alone as a person diagnosed with Parkinson's. So we have to really work together throughout the world to end that.
I fully agree, and it touches me because I don't know anyone from my surroundings, my relatives that are having this disease. But at the same time, I've been through not really caregiving at 100%, but I was at some point struggling to see my father illness issues, and also my grandmother. So my grandmother was having shaking issues, and I don't know if it's Parkinson or not. But I always remember in the 90s and the 2000s, as soon as she were handling a cup of coffee, hands were shaking. So it was really, and then my dad began these issues since 2012, 2014, I think. And it's always painful for me to see my dad when I'm in a restaurant, for instance, with him taking his fork and sometimes or his spoon for the soup, for instance, and having some difficulties to eat properly. So I don't know a lot about that. I'm sure that as a caregiver, you are knowing so much than me. So we are happy to hear your insights about what was your journey as a son, as a caregiver, and then as a Parkinson disease advocate.
Thanks. Yeah, there are other signs of Parkinson's. They're called Parkinsonians, which is why it's so hard to determine. Everybody's journey is different, which is also hard, which is why there's no cure. I was shocked to find out that there's about 1 million people in the US, but 10 million around the world with Parkinson's, many in UK, Brussels too. This disease doesn't discriminate. And it's just something I feel that we could end through a cure if we had more awareness. I had the honor to interview 700 people around the world. And I was again shocked to find out that, even people in Nova Scotia, people in Alaska, people in England, France, Italy, they've had Parkinson's, but there's not enough awareness, which is a big issue for them, or even getting access to doctors. A lot of people live in uh, areas that there's no movement disorder specialist, which makes it difficult to get help. So we have to get help to all these people, and the only way to do that is to have talks like this today.
Thank you so much, and welcome, Dr. New. She is in the healthcare system as a pharmacist, and so I'm really happy that she's there. At some point, maybe at the end of the session, if she would like, she can also join us on stage. Yet at the same time, I would like to hold you the maximum space so that you can tell us your journey as a caregiver, and also to your journey also to see your mom illness and your mom decline and then transition. I don't use so much the word death because it's really activating me, but at the same time, I'm really happy to hold you space and to hear from you, because I have some experience as a child for my mom that suffered brain cancer and transitioned more than 35 years ago. So I've been through a lot also as a child, and my dad as a caregiver also. But at the same time, it was long time ago, and it was another experience, another story. And today, this day, it's about hearing your story. So thank you so much for all the things that you are sharing to us, and feel free to continue.
Thanks. Yeah, and sorry to hear about your loss. We send our love to you and your family too. Wish we could end all these diseases, but obviously, again, awareness is the key for all of them. My mother had Parkinson's for many years. I never even heard of the word, to be honest, till it was one night where she went. We tried everything for many years, and she tried many things before I even got involved as her caregiver. One night, she went for a special trial for Parkinson's disease, and it was really like our last hope. So we hoped that that would help her. It didn't, but we think they might have drastically changed her medicines too much. That night, I got a call to rush over to her home at 4 a.m., and I found her agitated and really upset and moving her furniture out of her house. So I asked her why, and she said she thought there were people inside the house that were going to harm her. And that was the night I rushed to the hospital, and they said we saved her life. But that was when my caregiving journey began. I never even knew what the word caregiver was. I just kind of got thrown into it like a wolf in the shark, in the shark infested water. And I knew that it was time to help her. When I was growing up, my mother was a school teacher, had a master's degree, and she gave it all up and sacrificed everything to raise me and my brother. So I knew that she had no one. She didn't have a husband at the time. I knew that it was either up to me or kind of, there was no one else to support her. So I decided full force to take care of her and help her in any way we could. But it was the last 4 years of her life. We were always told that Parkinson's disease doesn't end someone's life. They have other reasons. So we believe that, at least she'd be with us. She'd be struggling. But in the last 4 years, she went from someone walking 4 miles a week to slowly 2 years of a cane. After the cane, she went to a walker for a year, and then a wheelchair and bedbound, all in the matter of just 4 years. So even to this day, while I'm sitting here with you live, I don't understand why it progressed so quickly. Medical profession also doesn't, but she never had any other medical issues. She always was very healthy. So it really was just because of Parkinson's, in my opinion. Again, I'm not a medical doctor. My background also is important. I've been an advocate my whole life. Before the world of caregiving, I always wanted to help victims of crime. I'm in Florida now, but I grew up Brooklyn, New York, which is a tough area. Unfortunately, that's where I was raised. You could probably see that in the movies with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. So I always wanted to find a way to help victims of crime. I became an attorney in Florida and Washington, D.C. And I found that in the prosecutor's office, we just didn't have time to help victims like I wanted to. So I kind of went the other way and into the field, and I became a police officer. Today I'm a reserve, so I'm not there as much, but being a police officer allowed me to be hand on hand with victims. But again, I found you have to hand a brochure because you don't have time. You have to just go to the next call. So I was kind of upset, and I decided to teach. Fell into the world of teaching, a profession, and I worked with a group of African American mothers who lost their loved one due to murder in West Palm Beach, Florida. So a lot of my advocacy before caregiving was helping family members realize that they're not alone too in the criminal justice system in America. So that was really I've dedicated my life to others. This world of Parkinson's awareness is something I fell into. I never chose it, but I'm grateful for the opportunity because unfortunately, like you mentioned, the sadness is my best friend. My mother's no longer with us, but I've met so many incredible people like yourself and the doctor who joined us in chat. We met before, and I met so many incredible stories. Right now, as we speak live, there are people for a crew of four. They're rowing around the world for Parkinson's disease awareness and raising money for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. That's why we need to keep having these talks. There's so many people doing incredible things that inspire me to never give up. And as I mentioned to you, I don't know if you heard, but I actually had my own medical issues. This summer's been very bad. I've had 3 major surgeries. One was on my back. And as we sit here, I actually have, not to get graphic, but I have a wire in me draining some kind of fluid from myself. And most people might cancel today, but I don't want to do that because if we just reach one person in the world today, we've changed the world for the better. And nothing will ever stop me, even my own health problems, because I don't want others to go through what my mother and I have with this disease. And the only way to prevent that is to keep fighting, whether I'm from a hospital or not. So thanks again for your time. And I consider you family because this is not something that's easy to talk about. It's not something I gain anything from. Literally, we don't accept money. We do accept though that people know and learn that they're not alone. So that's my main mission. I wrote the book. I didn't realize, I didn't really want to write a book. That wasn't part of the plan. I only did it because if you have the book or are able to get a copy, I'm an independent publisher. It's hard to get the word out because there's not enough awareness for Parkinson's disease. But in one of the chapters is actually a journal from me as a caregiver, literally the time, the date, and everything. The whole chapter of what I went through with my mother as caregiver during her battle. And it's something that's hard to talk about sometimes because it still gets me emotional. I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, police, but I fall apart because it means a lot. She was my best friend. And last thing is even the cover, if you can see, that was one moment with my mother, my wedding, which was one of my most memorable moments in my life. It was a son-mother dance, and it was 3 minutes, but it was the only time Parkinson's disease didn't exist and it didn't matter. And it's one image and memory I'll never forget. And again, I'm grateful for the opportunity to tell you that.
Well, thank you, and thank you so much for sharing with such vulnerability and for bringing your energy for this mission. I'm going to spotlight the picture so that the people, the audience, and the replay team will be able to see it fully. And I love, love, love so much when you say this is a time, a moment where Parkinson didn't exist. That's really touching my heart because at some point also, even though I have not so much this kind of memory, there are some moments that I still have that my mom was not feeling truly sick, and it's as if the illness was not existing. So I'm going now to hide this so that we can see each other's. And also, yes, this is something that happens all around the world. And I was, of my understanding, listening to the beginning of your book, yes, as you call PD, Parkinson disease, is an iceberg or an umbrella of various other illnesses. that are encompassing through Parkinson disease. So there are quite Venn diagrams of illness. Like my father's illness is hereditary from his own mother, and it's called in French le tremblement essentiel, which is a bit like ironic because in English it could be essential tremor,
Trump, yeah.
and which is absolutely non-essential in my eyes. But for me, it's about creating disability by blocking people to have a normal life. So I was hearing you about the fact that it could have many disagreements like mobility issues, uh, disability of speech, tremor, shaking, and also it really impacts mental health. For me, as my mom transitioned when I was not 13 years old, and for 2 or 3 years I've been seeing her declining, and one of my revelation. I'm really blessed about my dad that he was preserving me about that, but he told me later on when I was adult that this occurs even 5 to 10 years before I even saw it on my face, and I was able to assemble the puzzles because before that she had epilepsy crisis also, and I remember really vividly. And that's why it's really important also for children, especially on young age, to be able to talk to them. Because at that time, I was thinking, as a child, I was 7 or 8 years old, I was thinking that they had an argument, my dad and my mom. Because in my perception, I was seeing the table upside down, all the food in the ground, and I don't remember it vividly, but I remember that I was so in shock, in fear, that I had no other opportunity than to escape and to seek refuge to my neighbors in my village at that time. So to be able to talk to the children about what's happening, that's really important. So now I'm going to let you
I,
speak and continue.
I agree because actually I'm working on other things. One is a children's book, so it's going to literally be for because we had a lot of trouble. I have three children, explaining to them that their grandmother wasn't doing well. She used to come over for dinner and all play with the kids, blow bubbles in the backyard. It was her favorite time of the day of the week. But at a certain point, when it progressed, she wasn't able to do that. So it was very difficult to explain to three children. One was too young anyway, but the others were about 6 and 3, that their grandmother wasn't doing well. So that was definitely an area that has to be addressed more. And there's a lot more to it. But I, again, send our love and support. Sorry you have to go through the loss and also the struggle with your parents. I don't want anyone to have to do that. So thank you also for that.
Yes, and I acknowledge also that we have still 32 minutes together,
Thank you.
so it's okay. So during the time that we have together, I would like to also um, touch on a subject that is really important also, and it's really sad because it's a pattern that occurs for every illness, I think, or for everything that is touching the medical field. It's the lack of communication from the doctors to the patient, or from the doctors to the prescriber. I was hearing in the audio version that when you came to find another treatment that was, I think, marijuana or cannabis, I don't know, you were not able yourself or the prescriber to know what was the dosage from the prescription for the doctor. That's really
Mhm.
something that is really saddening me, because usually it would have been the whether it's the prescriptor or the pharmacist, they need to know which dose, which time, how much time per day, how much dose, or So could you tell us about that more?
Yeah, that story was interesting because as a police officer, I didn't really even want to get involved with all that because it's, we arrest people for marijuana in the US. So, but the times are changing. Mental health is a big topic in the United States the last decade to come to the forefront, very important. And medical marijuana is another big topic. Some are against it, some are for it. Thankfully, I'm located in Florida, and just a year or two ago, the state of Florida legalized it, but you have to have a specific license. So we're not, we follow the law. I'm an attorney and a police officer. So that whole experience was odd because it was legal, but I was still kind of paranoid and scared to go walk into a store. And even if it's not for me, it's for my mother as a caregiver to help her through that. But she was in a lot of pain. And I wanted to try everything so I wouldn't regret anything. And we didn't regret that because we got the license. It was pretty expensive. It cost thanks to $300 just for the license, and then a lot of money too for just to see the doctor. Now the problem in the Florida and in many states in the U.S. is that you have a doctor who you see, and they have to approve you to have. First, you have to get the license, then you go to the doctor, and then they sit you down. You explain what's wrong. So they approve you to have specific, what might help your needs. So oral. There's also different types. We only went with pills because I'm not into the whole cigarettes and all that. So we had a pill. But the reason the doctor doesn't speak to the distillery is it's just so new here. It's never been, it's so new. It's only been a year. So the doctor won't speak to the distillery. So then after you visit the doctor, they write a prescription. But it's kind of just like in the magic. It's like no one knows what works, what doesn't work. And then you go to another building and it's a distillery, and it's funny. If I could paint a picture, it looks like a bank. I've never seen it so weird. You walk into the place, there's counters and tellers. It's not a bank, it's a marijuana dispenser. So it was just really a weird experience, almost like you're dreaming. So then you get to the front of the line and you say, here's our prescription. What does my mother take to help her with her Parkinson's? Well, they didn't know. So basically, it's like trial and error. So they gave us a dosage that was too high and one that's too low and one that's in between. Unfortunately, my mother, marijuana didn't help at all because either she took it, the pill, and if she fell over on the wheelchair, it was just too much. So she kind of was, or the opposite happened, and she got even more agitated. And a lot of this problem is a lot of the medications for Parkinson cause delusions and hallucinations. And some days she didn't realize, who was alive in the room, who wasn't alive. There were days she thought her parents, who were deceased for decades, were in the room. So Parkinson's is a frightening disease, not just because of the movement disorder issues like the external tremors, the dystonia, the stiffness, and also it destroys the stomach, the gut, because of the medicine, but it also causes other things, which is even more frightening, in my opinion, which is the delusions and hallucinations, because my mother was a very strong, positive person her whole life. Towards the end, she kind of lost hope because she went into the last year at hospice, which is a special program in Florida. Usually you go to hospice for a few days. This was a whole year. And one downfall of hospice is the positive is they send a nurse. So we were able to have a real licensed nurse care, but they do not believe in physical therapy. Well, as we get to, if we have time, physical exercise, diet, some of the biggest ways to fight Parkinson's and lower the progression. You cannot cure it yet, but you can slow it down. Unfortunately, my mother, I think, it was too late. It just kept progressing. And at a certain point, she couldn't even do exercise anymore because of the disease. So when you take away physical therapy, it's mental. There you go again with the mental. It kind of destroys the mind because she always said at the end, George, I want to be there for my grandkid's wedding. But when they stopped the physical therapy because she couldn't do it, it kind of is like where you have no more hope. So as a caregiver, it was very hard. I didn't have Parkinson's. I don't have it, but I feel like I had it secondary because I was holding my mother's hand throughout these 4-year journey. And it was something that I never saw before and never really want anyone to go through. I mean, there are people living till 85 or 90 with Parkinson's. My mother was only 69, which was young when she passed. So I feel like we lost 15 years of her life alive and 15 years after. And honestly, I feel like a piece of me also passed away with her. But because of incredible, inspiring people like you and your audience and the doctor, I keep fighting for others because this actually speaking to you today still helps me grieve, even though it's been 4 years. And the book is really in memory of my mother, but for all those people still fighting today and their families. I actually wrote two more books coming out in the future. One of them is going to be very, very, very groundbreaking. And it's actually, I don't know the name of it, but it's done. I'm just editing it. It's called Policing in Parkinson's. I won't get too much into it, but as a police officer, I'm shocked and saddened to see that in every academy almost throughout the United States, they have the word dementia and Alzheimer's, but do not even recognize Parkinson's disease. And my dream, if I have one more thing left in my lifetime, is to have the legislature throughout the United States add the word Parkinson's into all the police academies. Because right now, if you have Parkinson's, it's a movement disorder. And let's say you didn't take the medicines or they're wearing off and you're driving your vehicle at 11 at night in a dark area. Well, police might pull you over and think you're drunk or driving under intoxication like drugs, and it's not going to end good because the person is literally moving, and you can't stop within 3 seconds to tell somebody what's wrong. You have Parkinson's. So my dream is my next book next year, hoping that for Parkinson's awareness, April 2025 will be ready, and that'll literally be a game changer. And I don't make money from these things. Like even our book, we donated $20,000 to the Michael J. Fox Foundation, to the Parkinson's Foundation, to the American Parkinson. So we've donated all the money to Oregon. We don't want it. We're not here for that. I just want my mother's memory to never be forgotten, and I want people to know they're not alone. So there's a lot of exciting things coming, but I do wish my mother was here and I wouldn't have to, do any of this.
So do I. So do I. Because we should also hear, of course, from the caregivers, but also for the persons that are living that situation, so that they can share. What I heard from you, it's really saddening me also because I see there is a lot of improvements. I would say like that this way about police because I was also there is another. It's not about Parkinson, but there is another case where police needs to be aware and trained to respond accordingly for autistic people. I was seeing a post lately from Dan. I don't know the family name, but he has an autistic son, and he says that he, at some point, I don't know if it was like for bringing awareness or if it was really happening, but his son, we see a picture with his son with a handcuff, but he is not able to use his tablet to communicate because it's the only way for autistic people to communicate, as far as I know. So it's about bringing awareness to police. There's so much topics like Parkinson, domestic violence, rape, whatever, you name it. And there is a huge challenge about that, and of course about people of colors and many things. So it's kind of boiling, and I will be there for supporting you for your next book, and also for always making the life of your mom alive in our memories, and also about all the persons that came through illness. I will always remember Angel, my dear friend, who passed away 6 years ago, and what was really shocking me is the time that happened. Like in June 2017, I was seeing her for the last time healthy. Then I was not seeing her for full 2 to 3 months, and I knew she came to hospital. And when she came back 3 months later, she was so weak. In 3 months of time, seeing that change, it was really heartbreaking for me. So it's last but not least, before giving you the mic, I would say also that what is sad also is not only happening for people that are 60, 70, 80 years old. Look at Michael J. Fox. I think he was having that at 28 or 30 years old. Amazing, I know.
Yeah, there is something called young. And actually, it's important that you pointed that out. So thank you, because there's a lot of misconceptions and incorrect thoughts about Parkinson's disease. It used to be known as an elderly man disease, but that's not true. People can get young onset Parkinson's, like Mr. Michael J. Fox, who I had the honor to meet a few times now, and he's amazing. He is one of my heroes because he could have really just led a quiet private life, but he didn't choose to do that. He fought back. He's raised over 2 billion, not million, $2 billion towards research to a cure. Unfortunately, he's not doing well today. But when I met with him, I was honored because I told him about my mother. We told him how much we love him and we support him, and he thanked me. But that's why we do this. It's something very important. The national plan to end Parkinson's disease just passed. It's the first national law ever in the United States history to pass to help the individuals with Parkinson's and their family. Actually, it was signed into law by the president just 2 weeks ago. So we're actually sitting here live through U.S. history. I'm hoping that that'll help change the world for research and for helping individuals. But also, I hope that other countries like yours can now literally take that plan and use it and adopt it completely the same in your countries. Because this, again, my mother passed 4 years ago. 2 years ago, I was shocked to find out that there's 10 million people in the world with Parkinson's. And I decided 2 years ago, it's not just about my mother and I anymore, or me, it's about everybody. And we have to be a family in this fight for a cure. And that's when I embarked on my journey to interview 700 people or more now around the world for awareness, and I don't charge. It's all voluntary, free. It's all on togetherforsharon.com, free. The one thing you'll get tired of is that I do it all for free. And when someone goes to the website, I mean, it's almost like its own life now. I thought we'd have 3 or 4 people just kind of look at the site and I would have been happy. But we've had over 40,000 people visit the site, which is really incredible. Sometimes I don't know if it's my advocacy or that the disease, unfortunately, is growing and growing. But whatever it is, it's a resource. It's free. I tried to put together a website that shows my mother's journey and mine, but also we now have a show too, and it concentrates mainly on Parkinson's. So even today, after we're done, even though I'm not feeling too well because of my surgery, I'm interviewing a gentleman I just recently met who has young onset Parkinson's, and he's going to share his story. But there's so many incredible people out there. There's push-ups for Parkinson's. There's dance for beyond Parkinson's. It's just incredible. It's not just in the U.S. It's around the world. I've actually interviewed a organization called Parkinson's France, and they're incredible too. And their president actually interviewed with me. So my dream is that somebody in France or UK or England or Spain or someone out there in Antarctica even is alone right now and very frustrated. And they feel like no one's there to listen or care. And if we could reach those individuals, that's why I do shows like yours, and was honored that we became friends, because this is such an important topic. You're not going to be just a show host to me. You're someone who I consider, family, because this topic and conversation can't just end here today. It has to be shared. So everyone out there, please support your host or the host today, Ali, and also share his work, because he's doing some incredible things. But again, if we're not all going to work together as a family in this, and it costs nothing, like that's the most amazing part. Just spending a little time, to share is free, and it changes the world for others. But people can go on the website for free. You can see the interviews. You can realize you're not alone. You can see resources around the world. I have UK up there. I have France. I have I interviewed a gentleman the other day from Africa. His mother had Parkinson's, and his story is incredibly sad but inspiring. They thought in Africa that people with Parkinson's had witchcraft. So it's like they take the person away from the civilization and put them in almost like a prison, because they don't want them near other people. But that's not how Parkinson's is. And quickly, we talked about the signs. There are ways to kind of reduce the progression, but we also have to do things like ban things like called paraquat, which is a poison that's allowed in the U.S. but banned in China, which is shocking. Paraquat is a dangerous chemical used in a lot of the pesticides. We use pesticides on our food in our grocery store, so we have to be more aware and get the government involved more to protect us. They're not protecting our citizens. There's a famous case called, it was actually a military Camp Lejeune. If you look up online, in a military base, the water was contaminated. Now everybody's getting Parkinson's, and it's horrible. Those are people who dedicated their life, sworn to defend our country, and that's what happened to them. There's a big lawsuit on it. But this thing's even dry cleaning. I was interviewing an expert on Parkinson, doctor, and he actually, during the interview, told me that even our dry cleaning has poison chemical. I didn't know. While he was speaking, I was trying to take my shirt off and burn it because I didn't want to, So dry cleaning, our food, the pesticides, My mother had a very nice life. She had a nice home in Florida, but she had her home for 20 years and it had mold after time, like a lot of homes do. It had this termites, like a lot of homes have. You can't, but the things they must have sprayed 20 years ago or 10 years ago might have caused Parkinson's. And that's, I feel she got it from the environment. There's no other reasoning why she had it. But we can prevent these things. And it's really by our talk today and sharing this, everyone out there, how we can save lives really and end this disease forever.
Yeah, thank you so much. And as I don't have an audience that is as much important as Dr. Constance Leyland or Mike or anyone in the house of or Rachel, but I do encourage anyone from the audience to connect with you and to share your story. And also, it's about the struggles of the people, the person that are still living. And you point something that is really important. Also, it's about pollution, agriculture, pesticide. We are harming Mother Nature. Therefore, we are harming ourselves too because we are from the nature. We are part of the nature. And for me, it's also to bring our forces together, to let go the country ego, like, oh, my country is the best. No, the most important is to gather together our strength and to fight to find a solution, or at least also not only to find a solution but also to seek for what is causing that. Because it's like bring the boat is full of water because there are holes, and of course it's good to take the buckets and to get the water in outside of the boat, but at the same time, if we don't fix the holes, it will continue again and again. So I truly believe that we have also not only for seeking the cures, but also for seeking the root cause of that, so that it will be really stopping completely. So we have still 12 minutes together, I think. And so I would like to ask you a question. I don't see any question in the audience, so feel free to ask any question. The audience, I would like to ask you a question that could be really important also, I think. Now, in 2024, you and since many years you are advocating and the ambassador of Parkinson disease cure. But at the same time, as you said, it was way before 2010, and if I understand well, the symptoms were appearing in 2011 or 12. So, what would you, as George that is right now today, what would you tell the George of 2008 or 2010 when it was happening?
Yeah, the one thing I wish I had known is I wish, it sounds odd, but we have amazing technology. We can talk across countries today from all around the world. But I wish I had a podcast when my mother was with us before Parkinson's. So I would have loved to have had like the George and Sharon show, but about her life and our lives and just laughing and talking. Because if I had those memories today, boy, it would be a different world for me because I miss her every day. It's sad on holidays, her birthday. It's just there's this empty chair. I actually wrote a third book on it. I don't want to talk too much about. I have a lot of things to say, and there's a lot of awareness needed. I'm shocked that I'm the only, and I've done research, and anyone listening can correct me if I haven't seen it, but I didn't see one other book in the world, like from a son who lost their mother due to Parkinson. So this is literally not just unique and important, but it needs to be out there because there are other sons obviously going through this that feel alone. But the one regret I have, which I don't have any about actual caregiving, I do have, which I would never have known, and we didn't have the money and the technology back then to have a show. Today, a lot of people have shows. Back then, no one even knew what a show was. But I wish I had a show with my mother, and I would have had so many incredible stories and clips. And I hope these shows someday my kids will look at them and remember, what their father did, and they'll never forget their grandmother. Because one of my sons was so young, he was a baby. I don't think he really will ever know my mother, and that's heartbreaking. So I know my older two will remember. My oldest one is my daughter Brooke. And a funny story, quick, my mother's dream was to have a girl. So she had two boys. So she didn't, I won't say she regretted it. She was proud of us. But when my wife and I found out our first baby together would be a girl, I never forget. My mother was crying and so happy, and she started buying dolls and dressing her up. And it was like, honestly, I think that was probably the one thing that my mother loved more than anything. And that same amazing thing was also the saddest thing, because seeing her unable to be with my children and her three grandkids was heartbreaking. And today it's, my mother's birthday, September 28th. Every year at that time we light a candle in her memory and we visit the grave, but just not the same. I selfishly wish she was here, but I know she was in pain and suffering, so I'm glad she's not doing that anymore or feeling that. But as a caregiver, it was not an easy journey. I felt it was one that needed to be out there, but there's still not enough awareness. I'm very honest. I don't hide anything or nothing. I don't want anything from anyone but to share my mother's story. But I've written to 15 major organizations like media, and they don't even respond, which is sad, because till we can get their attention and get the word out there, have a lot of work still to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for expressing that. And I have two threads about what you said. The first thread would be you were feeling alone because you were feeling like the only one writing a book as a son, talking about your mother or your parent. And I do relate with someone else that write her book at 90 years old, and she waited a lot about that. She is a Holocaust survivor, and she was telling a story that was not really the truth. And then she finally came to write her book at 90 years old. It's Edie Eager, Holocaust survivor. And she said that she wrote her book mainly because she was the only woman talking about that and writing about that, bringing the voice of a woman about what it is to be a Holocaust survivor and to be in Auschwitz camp. So I truly believe that you are kind of the same situation, and that's why you made it. And then later on, the universe opened you many doors because you were connecting to amazing people that says, I've read your story. I feel the same. Thank you so much for writing this because I feel the same. And maybe you will also empower others to do the same, to write their own story, whatever it's about books, podcasts, expressing on video, whatever, in any way, painting, whatever, they will express what they was feeling. And then the second thread I was thinking is that I will also share something that is really personal and really on the 8th of May, 89, my mom transitioned. And I was not 13 years old. My birthday was on 21st of June. And I remember vividly because my dad was able to get out of school early. It was at noon or 1 p.m., I think. And my dad waited for me. And we were sitting on a bench, on a bank, side by side. And it was the first time that I've seen my dad crying because he preserved me about what he was enduring year after year to see my mom declining. And he told me something that I will always remember. But if I could go back, the Olivier of now, telling the Olivier of at that time, at not 13 years old, I will say to this Olivier, don't listen to your dad about what he told you, because it told me, my dad, it's over. Your mom is dead, and you will not be able to see her again. And although it's true physically, but within my heart, I think I would have been more empowered as a 12 years old son to know that although she left her body, she is still non physically aside me, doing what she can to help me and to bring her energy within my heart. So that's something that I would like to share it, because most of the time we are saying so much bad things to others, including these kind of things, and to say, at least if it's not the truth, it's okay, but at least to empower the heart, to heal the heart, to say your mom is not anymore there physically, but she is still there aside you. That would have been probably different from me. So with that, I'm going to let you speak and ending this because we are living in 5 minutes. So thank you so much for your last words.
I appreciate your time and your audience. You all, this means the world to me, and I hope again we can continue this conversation. I'll be sharing it around the world forever. But I think I also want to thank you for sharing that. It means the world also to me to be able to share both of our journeys. It's not just about me. There's so many incredible people. I actually started sharing other areas, not just Parkinson's. So if you go to togetherforsharing.com and click interviews, I've actually shared an individual fighting cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's, I mean ALS. So there's other, things out there that not just Parkinson, that I do want journeys out there, because those individuals also deserve the time and the notation of their journey. So thank you. It's been an honor to be able to talk to you today again. I consider you friends, so hopefully we'll still talk later and after this. But it's important to get this out there. Feel free to go to togetherforstrand.com. We're not an organization on purpose. It's just me. So I'm just one son who lost his best friend, his mother, due to Parkinson's, and I'm going to keep fighting till we find a cure for other people in her memory. Since I don't think they can figure out how to bring someone back yet, but I don't think that's not on the card. So I did have one last little message for you and everyone listening. We love you. We support you. We care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with Ollie, will advocate for you, and together our voices are so much stronger. And I always say I'm just getting started, because every day I wake up and feel my own issues, or I'm at the hospital with my back surgery, or just a lot of things. This summer has been probably one of the worst summers of my life for some reason, medically. But as I'm lying there after I come out of the surgery, I think about all those people struggling. I think about my mother and what she went through, and I see all those inspirational stories of people out there, and I kind of forget my own issues, which sometimes isn't this. We didn't get to that. I don't advise people, always take care of yourself before you help your loved one. I don't do that, but I didn't do it for a reason. Maybe we'll talk about another time. But, those are the reasons I keep pushing, I keep doing this. And again, every day I wake up, I see a new inspirational journey, and it makes me want to keep fighting. So I'm so grateful for your time, the doctor joining us in the chat, and also everyone out there listening to this recorded. Please share this and please support this show. It means so much to people that we just don't even realize are out there, and they need to know that they're never alone. So thank you all again.
Wow, thank you so much, George, and feel free to leave whenever you want. I'm just showing something that is about ending. That's about the pictures and memories. Pictures are images that are a capture of an instant, of a moment, with a lot of emotions. We see things visually in the pictures, yet we are just connecting through the art for the person that remember these pictures. So thank you so much for sharing also the pictures of your mom and for your mission. And George, I will always support you with my own capacity, and also feel free to connect with you all the people in the audience, in the replay team. We need more voices like George, and more voices also about people that are struggling living these illnesses, the person that are having these challenges. So you bring your voice as a son, as a caregiver, and thank you so much for that. Keep shining and take care about your health. That's really important. So thank you, George. Wow. So thank you so much, George, for joining this session. I will continue few minutes. I will close in maximum 10 minutes. And feel free also to join the stage if you would like. Now you can join the stage. I just posted the link on the comments so that you are able to join the stage if you like for an after party, or if you would like to ask specific questions or commenting. I just dropped this in the comments. I wish that you can see it. I can also go to the details and to see if I can add in the description. So I'm going to paste the link also in the description. Thank you so much, Dr. New, for joining. Thank you. Oh, it doesn't allow me to modify the comments, but the details. But there is also the stage. Feel free to go to the stage if you want, or to comments. I'm going to double check the comments. So thank you, Dr. New. Thank you, Miliana. Thank you, Muhammad. And thank you, everyone that was part of the audience and everyone in the replay team. This conversation needs to continue. This is not the end of our session. We need to continue. This session is the beginning of that. So once again, I will highlight this. He wrote a book that is also being able to be audible, A Son's Journey from Parkinson's Disease Caregiver to Advocate, in memory of his mother, Sharon. So thank you so much. I don't see any comments. I don't see anyone in the stage. I will hold the space for 5 to 8 minutes. But at some point, if I don't have anyone joining the stage or anyone commenting, I will end by saying that this is my heart. This is my true heart, to bring the light, to bring the voice, to allow people to be audible and visible and seen, empowered, acknowledged, and loved. It's the SEAL acronym, SEAL, seen, empowered, acknowledged, and loved, about what they are living right now. And whatever it's about the health, it's something that is really touching my heart. Because of my mom, that she had brain cancer when I was a child and an adolescent. Because of my friend Angel, that were my friend and confidant. I don't know if you know the book Tuesdays with Maury Schwartz. I had my Thursdays with Angel each Thursday afternoon, probably 100 times within 8 to 10 years, more than 100 times, I think. Having a coffee with her and talking about my issues, my life, her life's struggles. And then it was over. Then in 2017, the last time was in June, and then in 2017, a few months later on, I was seeing her like with the look of someone that was 90 and not 70. She was difficult to move. She was having short hair. She was having respiratory issues. And seeing that in 3 months of times, my friends, that's why it's important to cherish each day, each moment of your life, and each moment that you can live with the persons that truly care for you, always expressing them your love. Because when I've seen her back in November, a few months later on, 2017, it was a shock for me to see my friend Angel totally transformed, weak, and I knew that her life was ending very soon, and she was fighting her illness, and she finally left her body on the 8th of March 2018. And I was in on her funeral also. It was really moving to see her body in the open casket, to see her not alive anymore. And it was bringing me fond, sad memories with my mom. So that's why I'm doing that on the Saturday Mental Health, to empower people that came through so much pain, so much challenges, and to also empower those that have mental health challenges. We need more heart. We need to connect with each others in elevating humanity, being there for each others. That's so important. We need more to hear more voices. We need to hear your voice as you are struggling. We need to hear your voice. You need to express by any means. If you are not confident to show up in my session on the video, let's do it on audio. If you are not confident to do it neither on video or audio, let's arrange something that allows you to share your voice in any mean, by any mean. Not only because you will be heard or seen or acknowledged or loved or empowered, yet because also you will inspire others that are living the same. You will inspire others to share also their stories, their struggles. We need to hear more stories. I was just out of the usual weekly Saturday session with Jay and friends. I was also moved because he shared something that he was not living, yet he was sharing what his ancestors were living during the World War II in Guam. And Guam was also having a lot of chemical pollutions. Guam was and still is a territory from the US. It's not yet independent, it's not yet free. And guess what the military did in Guam? So we need to bring more voices, more stories. I see someone going on stage, so I'm glad that I'm not the only one. Welcome, Dr. New. Thank you so much for showing to us.
Hi, Brother Ali. Are you getting feedback from me?
No, but it's okay because I need to cut my mic.
Oh, well,
I have
thank
an amazing mic, you know. I can speak
you.
like that, and then when I don't need it,
Oh, amazing.
so keep speaking.
Well, thank you for having this amazing room with George, and it's on raising awareness on Parkinson disease and really mental health on the and why it's so important. and I love to even join for a few minutes. I know you're closing the room, but I thought, I hop in, and that's why our well-being and our mental health is so important. And I totally not only see what has done not only our own life, but all of our inner circle and our family, that without our health, our mental well-being, nothing is possible. And so with that, it's having to believe that we can make a difference, and using the pain and our struggles and our journey, and be able to help others. It became a purpose. That's, our journey is our pain, and using our journey into our purpose and our passion to help others. And I see so much of, it's like your Ollie, the new Ollie. I don't know if you see that yourself. I see that in your transformation, brother. And what amazing, amazing, that I'm able to be a part of and see your transformation, and be able to be in your community, and be able to call you my brother in Belgium, right? Oh, let me see. I have a heart right here.
Oh, amazing. I was not able to find my heart, my crystal heart, because it's somewhere and I don't know where, but it's okay. I will say to you, you are a remarkable leader.
Oh, I like that.
And also, I love yogi tea, for instance, and I was forgetting to share, but thanks to you, I will share. The heart of happiness is to serve all. That's the
Mm.
message from yogi tea. And I will say also to you, it's not ending. I can be still there for 20, 30 minutes if you like.
Wow. Well, earlier when you mentioned about, having the activation of your mom and other parts, but I want to be here to also let you know that every interactions and encounters, whether it's our family or our friends and our family that we get to call and choose to be called in our inner circle, is that everyone come to our life for a reason. So be blessed, and I know that that's your message also, is always be blessed, because of those around you. Whenever we're able to appreciate and show our gratitude for those around us, because truly you never know when it's our life, our last breath, or their last breath, right? On this human experience that we get to call home here on earth. So that is why it's so important to be there when you're able to, and take care of yourself. When you're able to take care of yourself is when you can show up for others. Show up for yourself first, and show up for others. Right, Brother Ali?
That's right. And that's also when I feel really blessed to be full and that I have extra energy. I'm happy to spotlight you right there so that people are able to connect with you, to discover more your mission. So feel free to connect with Dr. New. She is a she is amazing. She is an amazing human being. Oh, you are on mute.
I was gonna say, um, you know, I always love to bring back circle, is the mindfulness, is really because we're all interconnected, and we're all one. And that's why it's so important for us to not only be connected, feel that you're all part of. It's like nature. And I love that when you have videos or pictures in natures, because we all, it's a process. It's a part of that, the ebbs and flow and the storm that come through. But how do we stand in our ground and not be pushed through the wind, right? And wherever the wind blow, we're not going to just go this way and then go back. We go this way. But we have to know and take care of our own well-being, mental health, the physical, the mind, the soul, the spiritual aspect. And I think that, for me, I notice a lot of time is people looking for things to help them on the surface. But if they're not looking within to really, it's like nourish your body from within, then it shine out. And I see within you, Brother Ali, don't you see your own transformation? I see it's like you become enlightened, your facial, your skin, and just the new Ollie, right, has transformed. And that is where your confidence and all the things that made you shine and get kind of shed. It's just part of who you are always. It's just you don't have that space to show up more. Now that version of you is here more versus the other version. So it's like is it Jekyll and Hyde? It's like the yin and yang. Which one we want to show up more? So wherever we want to show up, we have to visualize and picture ourselves in the mirror and saying, what version do we want to show up every day for our community, for ourselves? Do we want to smile or do we want to be angry and frown? And because the more we frown, get angry, we get a lot of wrinkles, right? But you can have natural collagen and smile and joyful, and that it comes within us, right? A lot of superficial things, yes, it can help, but it's on the surface. Everything get washed off, but internally, when we're calm, we're at peace, and we feel a lot of love and gratitude. Things change. A lot of things shift. And that's the blessing that I'm able to be around and be able to be blessed to be a part of Brother Ali journey. And that's something, it's an amazing. So this is not only I see George for raising awareness, and because of his loss for his mother and his love and his devotion, now he's doing things to raise awareness. But this also is a message for him, because if you notice, he said his health is down and he's not stopping. But we have to realize we have to not let our own burnout to the point that we say, well, we're in the hospital, we're still going to fight for it.
God bless you.
At his knees. Thank you, Brother Ali. But it's really, we have to be proactive and be able to take care and really stay strong, be healthy, so that way we can be around even longer for our family and fighting or cheering on for a good cause or spreading the love and kindness, right? And compassionate to the world, because the world is a better place because Ollie's here, or George is here, or everyone who's here supporting Ollie, because Ollie is an amazing soul. So whenever I'm able to, I'm blessed to be able to around and cheer Ollie along as he cheers on for me also, right, Ollie?
Of course, of course. I would say also that your explanation is right, but at the same time, I feel like there is so much judgment, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I truly feel that we have to embrace both in the same intensity, in the same act of love. Because it's not about, we have to be 100% Dr. Jekyll and let Mr. Hyde be at 0%, because it's impossible. We have all darkness. Like I'm attending a program with Edie Eager, by the way, and she says that within each in us, there is within us our own Auschwitz camp, that we have the key within our pocket. We have just to find the key within us, within the pocket. But also the fact that within us, we have a fragment of Hitler and a fragment of Mother Teresa at different proportions. Some have Hitler at 80, 90%, and some has Mother Teresa at 80, 90%, and some are in between. I truly believe that both are important, because if we set up judgment or blame or shame to our darkest part, they will continue to push and control us. I think the real question is, who is driving our vessel? Who is in the driver's seat? Is it the broke Ollie that is constantly repeating the past and the broke past? Or is it the ravioli? I love to play with puns, by the way. Broccoli, and ravioli is like the pasta, But it's like bringing the best version of myself and also acknowledge my dark part, but saying to my dark past, okay, I allow you to be there. I send you love, but I'm going to place you on the passenger seat and not allowing you to control me and my reactions. So that's also important.
Yeah, I
Last but
love that. And that's
la-
what the really, when you mentioned the non-judgmental, that is the mindfulness. The mindfulness of really be able to present and be able to be aware of all the things, but not pass judgment on, and letting go of the past. Because when we bring up things that are of the past, if we learn from the past so we can move on, be in the present, that's a different thing than holding on to the past and having either regret or the bitterness about what happened in the past. That's a lot of cases with a lot of people, is that even in illness, right? When we're talking about illness and what happened. So when we move forward, is that how can we be better is raising that awareness, and how each individual and even the patient journey is that we, and as the caregiver and as the person who going through that, only they can know their own body awareness, like what is it doing to their body, the physiological changes, and then be able to communicate with the healthcare team, because that is what it's so important, and not mm, depending on others, because the external is just looking in the symptom of what is manifesting at the moment. And so a lot of time, even my own circle of my mother, my family, or people who encounter. So I said, you have to take back the control, and having to know your own body, and knowing when and how and what makes you hurt, what makes you something's not right, if you have a new medications. So that's what, when you mention mindfulness, and I mean about the non-judgment, I said that is what the key of mindfulness is all about, is being aware and not judge. It's the same as expectations, because I used to have that of expectation of other healthcare, and say, how come they're not able to have more compassion and more caring into the system, and just really numb to the system and falling out and really losing their purpose. But we can't change people. The only person we can change is ourselves. When we show up a different way, a different version, your energy, your light will be affected, and others around you will see what you're doing, and actions is what it's going to take, and love and kindness, and having empathy and compassion for others. I truly believe that when we are mindful that we are all connected, like a brother or grandmother, a father, a daughter, or a son, or whatever we want to envision in front of us, it will change the way we care, change the way we interact with one another. It truly does.
Yeah, thank you. And I would like also to say two things. I was remembering two things, is that the wisdom is when you can approach your past, but without letting your emotions drive you. When you can look at your past without being too much overwhelmed or emotive, that's when you can say, okay, I've done the healing. I can look at my past and it will not trigger me anymore. That's the true wisdom. And then the second thing that I would like to say was the fact that the famous quote, let me know what could I change, what could I not change, and knowing the difference between the two, so that I know what I can change or not. Last but not least, I would like to also hear you, if you were listening to George, what are your thoughts when it comes to the medical profession? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, on Parkinson, when I heard about, I think not only when he had not only to be the caretaker, but also the changes when his mother had medication dosage and medication changes that had really changed how her body, it just, it's a reaction to a medication. And that's something that as a whole that we have to make sure, this is from both sides, that as a on a caretaker and a patient side, we have to make sure we have all the list of medications we're on, dietary supplements, herbals, and to non traditional prescription that we think of, because most of the time when we go to a visit or anything, we don't think of other factors, but all those does factor in and can cause a medications interactions. And so that's something that on a patient, we want to document like a journal. Any changes to the diet, any changes to the medications, to the herbal over the counter, and any new prescription from all physicians. That's one. But on the physician side is that the pharmacogenomics and the biomakeup of each individual patient is different. So, with that meaning, let's say guidelines saying this is what you're supposed to be taking. If it doesn't work, you add this, or you change, or you increase the dose. But then not everyone is going to react the same. It's meaning it's like a patient's being naive to a certain medication. So, there are new introductions to medications, it's going to be different versus, let's say, someone been taking, let's say, pain medication, or if like Parkinson, they have anxiety and depression sometime. So one of the things is that people think of automatically is to give them the antidepressant, right? But antidepressant can also cause very either agitated, or it can also cause suicidal thoughts. There's a lot of things that you think it doesn't, but it does. Same thing as ADHD medications for to help you focus when you're not focused. And but that is where I want people to realize, even though there's a small chance of reactions to that medication, that is more the warrant for us to revisit our medication on our pantry, our cabinet, and also to see, is it really, can I reduce the amount that I'm taking or the dose and eventually get off of it, is what I want to really call out to a lot of people. Because if we're depending on medication, and this is from my own experience and my family recent experience, meaning if you're taking any medication, it can cause you to have mania, can cause you to have psych, that you become hallucinating. You become, you're thinking somebody gonna cause harm to you, gonna do so much things to you. But that is the thing that will, the medication has so much side effect. I'm not here to say that there are times and moments for medication. There are. I'm just saying that it's not the quick fix, and you don't want it to be depending on it. That is something that you have to be really intentional, and knowing that let's not rely on just a quick medications and just pop a pill and go on with your day, and not realizing something is not right with me. I'm taking this and I've never experienced it. I'm taking the same thing, but then today I'm noticing something different. Maybe is it different manufacturing, different of the makeup? Is there something in the medication as a filler that you're allergic to? So there's so much of education, I think, in monitoring, to really on both sides, as a healthcare and as a patient, to really be aware of the side effect of what the medications would do. But really it's collaborations. What I see is that working with other healthcare providers and as the caregivers, if like for instance with George, is he was the caregiver of his mom. So with that is that as a caregiver, we have to document all the things, the diet. It could be adding more, is it the fruits and veggie, what are the things that is being changed, or even detergent, anything that could make a difference. You have to document it. Things you think that is so common, but people don't really realize, but the common things is what could be the trigger or the causing. So the lifestyle, of course, on for me, when I realized, when George mentioned, I was like, if I come on, one of the things, because I believe in mindfulness, can also transform a lot of lives, because it can help the stress and anxiety associated with having Parkinson's disease. And it can also help with patients who are Parkinson's disease and not able to sleep well. They struggle with sleep, so mindfulness can also help their quality of sleep. Or the cognitive is like they're not able to really, you know they're not all alertness, right? The cognitive impairment. But mindfulness can also strengthen and also slow the cognitive decline of it. And so, and of course, the emotional regulations is that when patients with Parkinson's, it's tough, because it's you living with a chronic condition that right now there's no cure. But that is why there's so much supporting, like George, and advocating for to find. But one of the things, the reason why, and I'm going to drive this home, is that we have to be the one who stand up, as in the patient, the healthcare provider. Because if we're depending on it, the pharmaceutical company or anyone, that is what their own profit gain. There's no way they're gonna say, well, I want you to be off of it. What is their gain? So in order for us to come together, there is time and place for medicine, but we cannot be depending on it. And we have to have real.
Yay! Here comes Dr. CJ. Welcome, CJ. Welcome also to the replay team to hear more from George, who shared his life, his journey. Happy to see you, CJ. And thanks to, I think it was you or Mike DeHaan, that I was able to know more about George. So it's about connecting to each others. So I dropped the link on for the stage. So feel free to join if you are able, CJ, because I'm happy also to bring your light on stage. So aside that, I was also saying to you, Dr. New, I so agree that it's about bringing our own advocacy, taking care about our health, and also looking at our root cause. And what's so sad is that the major pharmaceutical companies are only interested about making profit. It's so sad to hear, but they are not so much in because they want probably us to be dependent on them. And the thing also is that the medication are intertwined to each other. They are making a chemical soup that could worsen or annihilate what we want to fight. I would always remember my grandmother transitioned 22 years ago, and I will always remember, in French it's called a séminier, but it's a pill box that contains all the pills that she has to take morning, noon, afternoon, evening, whatever. And she had to take each day 27 pills. And that's something, sadly, it's repeating. It's something that it's it occurs probably 20, 30 years ago, and it's still doing like that, because the doctors are, okay, you have this, okay, click, you have that, okay, click. They are not really going to. That's why I really also advocate for functional medicine. That means also a doctor that takes the time, not only 5 minutes, to say, okay, you have this, okay. No, to really, and to make, by instance, all the tests, the lab tests, which is not only the blood check, but the result I was also doing. I was visiting a few years ago a dietitian, and she asked me few blood tests, also intestine or whatever, many tests, so that she have a clear pictures of my gut. And that was realizing for me that I need to stop gluten. I was eating probably each day pain au chocolat, croissant, pizza, pasta, you name it. Too much gluten in my body. My body told me no. And the way my body told me no is that I was really fatigued. And so awareness is first. I still eat sometimes pain au chocolat, but once a week, not anymore once a day. So I'm really lowering. So we need more advocacy. We need more also to challenge the system. So thank you, CJ, for your comments.
Yeah,
Um,
and CJ show up. It really as her with the new anthology Rebels with a Cause, and this is something that for all those who are listening live or the replay is that we all are rebel with a cause. And the reason why I said rebel is that sometimes it seems like it's a bad, but it's standing up and go against what the status quo. And that is why when we hear passionate about, and I'm blessed to not only be giving this extreme of the generosity of Dr. Constance Leland, Susanna Dawn, and the Level Up Academy to be able to join the next anthology, Rebel with a Cause, is that it's a call out really for all individuals who experience life that they feel like this is not well how it should be. This is not how you treat someone. This is not how it should be done. Or you've gone through your own rebels that you have to really reinvent yourself or have to stand up and be the change that you wish to see in the world. And that is what really I think all of us struggles and go through every day to be the change and for the next one. Like earlier, I think Ali mentioned about George. He is the one who not only standing up and sharing his story. The more you raise your awareness and know and stand up and say, I'm gonna start sharing my story. I'm gonna journal it. I'm gonna write books. I'm gonna be a part of the Ollie show or anyone show to really pass on that message because other people can resonate and they say, oh, I've been there. And that is why the earlier Ollie you mentioned about sugar. Sugar is another a bad one, right? When we talk about sugar, we all love it because I love it too, right? Dark chocolate and all the ice cream and coffee and things, but
can I
sugar,
add something?
yes.
We don't specially love it, but our brain is loving it, and it's the way that now. The sad thing is that there are so many industrial products, even products that you don't even guess they are sugar, but they place sugar because I think that one thing that I was realizing, and now I know why, but I stopped to eat these crap things, but in the 2000s, I think, I was discovering something like pimps, and guess what? They put addictive chemicals, so that when you eat one, you are eating the whole box. That then you buy another one and then another one, and that's why it's even with meat they put sugar. That's insane. I was seeing like filet de dinde, like turkey fillet, and they put whatever they name it, the E blah blah blah, the EXXX, the famous E element, but also sugar, water of course. But and also the fact I would like also to say, and it's also sad, how many times right now recently, I don't know if it's happened to US, but we have what's called the AFSCA in Belgium, the structure about food surveillance, food vigilance, and how much time we see in the news AFSCA called back this product because it was containing some ingredients that were not in the label. So even when we are scrutinizing the label, don't trust even the label. That's insane. And that's so sad because there are probably 60 different words to say sugar: dextrose, saccharose, you name it, sinistrose. No, I'm just joking, but it's so sad. So last words before I close this session, because we can talk about hours about that. And you are welcome in my next events, Dr. New. You are so amazing. I deeply love you, your energy. You are so amazing. And by the way, feel free to connect with you, Dr. New. and also to attend your all your events, especially on Friday. So I'm happy to spotlight you. And now you have the mic for the final.
Well, thank you, brother Ali. And you know, that some of the name it is complicated because we think of sugar as like glucose, but they also come in different. That fructose, ga is ga GALA. It's like ga and the lactose. Ga galactose. It's like the monosaccharides, and then disaccharides is like the complex sugars that we think of sucrose and lactose and maltose. So all the tose, TOSE, those are the N, and dextrose and levulose and all different types. But then there's other sugar alcohols. But like you saying, there's things that we don't know. But one of the thing I want to caution is the source and where it's packaged, because when you mentioned that, I think of, because if they're not all equal, so if someone were to live in Vietnam and read the label versus in the US, then the US were more, the label is what it said. In Vietnam, it might not be the same. It'd be other things that it might not be listed, right? So the reason is that it's the way it's always been, and people don't question it. But the more awareness we say we need to know all that's in it, then they put the chemical structure. Then you might not even know, right? So those are things I think being awareness, but it's all about not being. We're not having this conversation to tell people to really don't eat anything and just starve yourself because everything is bad. But everything is moderation, even though we know it. But it's all about how we incorporate. And when we talk about it's not balance, but it's how do we have that joy? And even though we know, well, this one, but we can have a little bit of those because we know we used to it, but we can have a little bit. That's the discipline that we know. Okay, we can have a little bit, but it's still better than you cut it off for a period of time and you go straight solo cut, cold cut, and then you come back and you're like, oh, I want to eat it all back again. So small habits can transform lives, and you can think of it: is this going to serve me to be better, or is it going to cause me more harm, or going to have to pay for my health down the road? And that is what we're kind of raising awareness, is that we are what we eat. Eat not just the physical things that we put in our mouth, the food and the drinks, but also through our eyes and our nose. I mean, nose, inhale, and our ears. So everything that we putting into our physical body and our social media and the people and that's mindlessly surfing or whatnot, just know what you're putting into. And when you surround yourself with positive people, loving people like Ollie and other amazing Level Up Academy like CJ and Mike of Asher Branner, different communities that are really truly bringing humanity together and lifting and raising everyone up. And that is something that I want everyone to be blessed, to be well, and to always be happy, an abundance of joy, peace, and prosperity when you get to see Ollie and myself. So much love to you, everyone. I have a heart for. Oh, Ollie, my daughter, just teach me, and this CJ is 3 hearts. Can you see? I'm gonna do 3 hearts. I think let me try and see if I can show. Oh, do you see 3 hearts?
Well, in my imagination, yes. Anyway.
Right here. Because each of this is 1 heart, right? But if you
Yeah.
do one more of the two pinky, so that's 3 heart right here.
Yeah, you are truly an artist, dear Dr. New. And also, you are so true. It's advocating for ourselves, reclaiming our control. Like, there are things that I cannot change, but I can place myself in the right environment, physically or virtually, deciding what I watch. Like, not anymore horror movies because the brain doesn't know what is real or not. So, we think that, of course, it's fake to see Game of Thrones, but the brain, our mind, doesn't know. So we think that it's okay, but our mind is acting like as if it was real appearing. So we need also energetic environment, virtual real, the food, the drink, the people we surround with, and giving love to ourselves, also to say to our body, thank you for being there for me. um, Giving thanks to all our billion cells that are forming us, that are forming Ori, and that are forming Dr. New. So that, thank you so much, Dr. New.
Love you. Appreciate
Love
you.
you. Love
No
you
makeup
so much.
on them. Raw.
Yeah. No, you are true, Dr. New. You are a true blessing.
No,
So,
I'm
yeah.
blessed. Have a blessed weekend, brother.
Thank you. Keep shining, everyone.